Captain's log, star date 2017, the 18th day of the 9th month. I'm sitting out here in the Gimpo area of Seoul, South Korea. This is my third day in South Korea. I flew in Saturday, the 16th, landed around 2 o'clock, I think. I stayed at a really nice place called the Seoul Lucky Guest House. Found off Airbnb. It's a pretty nice little spot. Wasn't a hostel really. You had your own bedroom, but it was a shared kitchen, patio, and living area. So it's pretty nice. Wasn't your own apartment, but it's compromised between a hostel and a full apartment. It was $35 a night. And stayed there for 2 nights. That's pretty cool. And then I moved to this hostel here for $12 a night only because it's 10 minutes from the airport for my flight tomorrow at 9:30 back to Houston, Texas. The original plan was to rent a bike and ride 7 days in South Korea and then locate another bike in Japan and ride there for 7 days. But it was hard to find a rental bike here. There was 2 spots and they were pretty expensive. Like almost $100 a day, and given the bike they had, I didn't think it was worth it. And truthfully, I'm just exhausted from traveling. I need to get home and detox for a couple of weeks, just mentally refresh. So when I get back to Moscow, maybe October the 9th, I think I'll have a month and a half all the way till maybe the 20th of November to do another quick trip through Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkey, Georgia, that area. Finish my original route, basically. So the weather in Seoul has been extremely nice. Weather-wise, right now it's probably 70, 75 degrees. At most, it was maybe 85 degrees when it got a little warm. I hiked up the Seoul, one of the mountains path there. That was pretty cool. It got a little warm there, but maybe because I was just exercising or hiking. So let's see, the first day of Seoul, passing through customs was pretty easy. South Korea, so America, South Korea, and Japan got a pretty good relationship. So Americans didn't need to get a visa, just your U.S. passport got you in. No charges there. Flight was 2.5 hours. Got to Seoul, passed through custom and baggage claim, took less than an hour. Actually, the whole damn city in Seoul was clean. Even the subway was clean, all the streets were clean. It's a great city to visit. The food's amazing, streets are clean, the women are amazing, are beautiful. Kelly wouldn't be worried because they're all Asian and she knows I don't like Asian girls anyways, but they were pretty. They were really pretty. Anyhow, so I see it as, a clean New York City. That's how alive it is. It's blooming with colors, with smell, with food. Of course, you get the city noise. You can hear the traffic outside, people, motor scooters. But it doesn't smell bad, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of pollution. I see people wearing masks and whatnot, but the air seems clean for me, for a big metropolitan. So I could also see it as a clean, expensive Bangkok. On the same par with the kind of food, the great food, the kind of shopping you see, the layout of all the small shops and the blocks of eateries, and you could see from the screen there's tons of place to see. Actually, the place I stayed before was much nicer. And this is not so bad either. I mean, you see the wire and the cabling, but definitely not like Thailand or Vietnam, where things were really dirty. The streets were somewhat dirty, but this place is really clean. I really like so. The only drawback really is the price. Expensive, yeah, for Southeast Asia type country it is. You're going to be paying, like the U.S. States prices, maybe 20% less. So if you get a nice meal for $30 there, it'll probably cost you $20 here. It's amazing food for sure. It's worth it. It definitely is. Lanterns, and all the food there was amazing. There were so many eateries and different kinds. It's so happening. It was such a great, it really is a great tourist spot. The foods are decent prices for what you're getting. I had stopped by and sat down and had dinner at a seafood place, ordered a really unique oyster platter.
Holy shit, this is amazing.
Cost me 35,000 won, which is probably $29. Had 2 different kind of oysters. It had 2 or 3 different kinds of, it looked like some sort of mollusk, some sort of tube clams, or I don't want to call them urchins because they're not the kind of urchins I'm used to, like sushi urchin. But it's some really wicked stuff. It was a bit fleshy, different. I've never had them, but with the wasabi and the soy sauce and all the different seasoning, it was a pretty good platter. There was a cute couple next to me. The girl was hot, definitely. So when her guy went up to make a call, use the restroom, she and I talked a bit. I think she was getting a little tipsy, and she showed me how to do a oyster beer bomb. Real cute girl. She was real nice too. He was nice too. His name was Young Jung or something, and she was Mika. So a nice couple. And the left of me, there were 4 professors, poli-sci professors, political science majors. They were professors at their local university, and they were hanging out there. I guess one of the professors never been in that street, so I got to talk to them a bit. I wanted to know about my trip, where I've been, where I was from. They introduced me to this crazy-ass plate of live baby octopus that was still squirming around, doing their thing. I don't think they were whole octopus either. They were like tentacles, but they were still jumping around doing the wave. So they let me try some of that. It wasn't bad. Some wasabi soy sauce, pop that on there. It was chewy and a bit cold and fleshy. I like chewy food, so it was okay for me, but some folks may not like it. What else? Oh yeah, they had some big escargots or conch. I tried some of that. Took some vodka shot with them, and bought them a bottle of vodka as well for being so cool. So that was a nice night. The next day, Oh, there were two nice girls that were staying at the apartment with me. I didn't get the chance to take any pictures with them. But Shaky was from the Philippines, and Kaneko was from Japan, and they just got there a couple of days before, just taking in the city, so they were real nice. If I see you guys again, come to Texas. We'll show you around. I think so. It's just the right size to be able to enjoy it and not be so overwhelmed. There's a lot to do here, but it's not so crazy big, maybe, or I haven't seen enough of it. But it feels large, but it didn't feel like Times Square or New York or Tokyo. You know, I imagine Tokyo's going to be crazy as hell. It didn't feel like that. It's sure manageable. That's the word for it. It feels like a great metropolitan that's manageable. So on Sunday, I went hiking up one of these mountains, don't know the name, came on the west side, and did about 2.5 hours of hike across. Essentially, they built some walkway that went up and down the mountain ridges around the city. To the other side, met a nice couple from LA, Koreans from LA, Steve and Tammy. Holler. We won't use it against them that they're from LA, from California. But they moved here 4 years ago to work, and they really like it here. I don't know what the weather's like during the summer, during the June or July months, but right now it's perfect. Well, it's perfect time for hiking. So there's a lot of scenic routes and great places during that walk that you'll see on the video. Came down on the east side to a nice park. Then took a break and had some lunch. And I have to say that was the best sushi I have ever eaten in my life. Next to that sushi joint that I took this girl to back in New York for $500, it was better than that. I ordered this couple platter, couple combo thing. It was 17,000 won per person, and he tried to convince me that was way too much food for me. So I said, I still want it because it looks so good, and pack the other half and I'll bring it back to the apartment. So that's what he suggested, to pack it up. So if you look on the video, oh my God, the sushi here is so amazing. It's so fresh and it's so exotic. It's not. This fresh shrimp ebi. It's raw, but it's really sweet. It's not fishy at all. It's not supposed to be fishy. So let's see if this one is or not. I think I just had an orgasm. It was expensive. I think the cabs are expensive, really expensive. I didn't bother. Like from my original place to the airport would have cost $40. That's ridiculous. So the bus would have cost $10. To the big airport, there wasn't a bus to take me to the small airport, but there was a subway stop. And that subway, I went ahead to catch that subway, and it cost me $2.50 or $3, hardly anything to catch the subway. The subway system here is actually pretty easy to get around. There's maybe 7 trains, and they're just numbered 1 through 7. And most of them, all of them go either west to east, and they intersect. And you got 30 stops at each subway. And so the subway map is pretty simple to follow. At least it seemed. I had a time trying to find the subway entrance, but outside of that, it's pretty cool. My impression of Koreans. I've always thought that the Koreans and the Japanese were some of the prettiest Asian folks around, but after being here and listening to their language and the way they interact with other people, Koreans are nice folks. Their language is very, to me, seems a bit more softer, more of what's the word for it? Floral, or a bit prettier. The word for that. It just seems more elegant versus Chinese or Vietnamese even. It doesn't seem as harsh. Of course, you know, you get a mad Korean yelling, it'll probably sound mean as well. But it definitely doesn't sound angry like German or Russian. It's a pretty soft-spoken Korean language, it seems. I was watching all these older people in the subway, and they were really nice to each other. Strangers, you know, coming in and out of the subway, and you know, they're pretty respectful. There's a lot of polite bowing here, which is nice. Bus drivers doing that. Some of the folks in the restaurants were doing as well when they welcome you in. 안녕하세요, which is hello in Korean. I know I'm slaughtering that, but the Korean language they've got their own alphabet. So there's two versions of it, right? Their own language, their own letters, and the alphanumeric versions of it where we can read and pronounce the phonic style of it. But the words are pretty long. Not as long as Thai, but still pretty long. So it's a bit difficult to try to read and say these words. So I'm learning. Maybe I'll pan around a little bit and see what I see where I'm staying at. It's not the fanciest place around, but it's not the worst place around either. No complaints here for $12. They do a better job of panning. So I'm gonna go and grab me something to eat. So I think this is a nice city spot, you know, nightlife. That's the main street over here, so I'm gonna go out there and do a little walking and see what I could find. But all in all, if it is this clean in South Korea and Seoul, South Korea, imagine what it's going to be like out on the coast, out in the country. It's got to be pretty. One of these days, I hope I'll have the opportunity to. It's possible to ship your bike, ferry your bike from Russia to South Korea and Japan. So I think it costs about $500 to ship your bike over. I'm told that you don't need a carnet to bring your bike over from Japan, from Russia to South Korea. You might need it for Japan, but there was a guy that was involved in shipping said that if you go out of the same port, you might not need it either. So in retrospect, I kind of wish I did ferry that bike over to South Korea. I didn't really do the math, but I was thinking $600 here, then $600 over to Japan, and then $600 back to the Vladivostok, Russia. $2,000 to bring your bike and ride these two countries. I guess I wasn't ready to spend that money this time around, as I'm on a tight budget. But one of these days we'll do it again. Sounds like a not so bad of a deal. Okay, that's it. Captain's out.